You talk about the accessibility aspects of like social media. You did a TEDx talk
Right.
recently, and I watched it, and I thought you did an amazing job. Can you tell us about that experience?
That experience was pretty wild. Actually, just started taking a course in public speaking in January that year. I won a speaking prize in April, and then I got connected with a women's community group, and I did a speaking um, gig in late June, and it went so well, and there was this opportunity to apply for a TEDx spot. So I thought, okay, what the heck, right? I know I'm not going to get it, but let's see what this process is like and go from there. So I applied and I made it through the application process and then the first interview, and I had to pitch myself for 1 minute. And that was the hardest part, like pitching yourself for 1 minute. And then I made it through that. And I was like, oh, wow. And then I had to do a second interview, and then I had to pitch myself again for 3 minutes. And I made it through that. And I was like, oh my gosh, what have I done now? I've, I got to do a TEDx now, right? So that summer, I worked on it, and the TEDx was in November of that year. The speaking coaches we had were amazing. We met every couple of weeks, in person and online, and it helped us to really hone our speech and get our topics together. And for a while there, I had like terrible writer's block. I had this
Hmm.
thought in my head, but I just couldn't connect them together. And that's with me sometimes. I can write fairly well, and then there'll be like a gap in my thinking, and it'll take a while, but it'll come. But it was not coming, and tickets were being sold, and I was like, I don't have my speech yet. Right? And I was starting to panic, and I started to just really get really, really down on myself. And then all of a sudden, it came to me, and then the speech came, and we have only 18 minutes to do the speech. You can't go over. Um, so all of a sudden, I had more than 18 minutes, and I had to really start chopping it down like crazy. And finally, it came through, and yeah, and for other speakers, you can have a bit of a teleprompter or something to help you, but because I can't see, I
Hmm.
don't have that luxury, so I had to memorize everything. So I practiced and practiced every single day, morning, noon, and night, to do this TEDx. But it was the most incredible experience. And what I really wanted was to be able to incorporate my story, give it a vision of what I hoped, and for the future, but also leave room for another visually impaired or disabled person to continue the story or continue what they could add so that there's room for everybody at the table. So that's where I left my TEDx, or in the future if I ever wanted to add more to it. But that was my hope for my TEDx talk.
Yeah, I think you crushed it. And for those listening or watching, I'll have a link to Anne's TEDx talk in the show description. But yeah, talking about the writer's block aspect, I tend to like me personally, if I'm struggling to come up with an idea for something, in relation to my podcast or even for, my work as a video editor, the ideas come to me when I'm not trying to think of
Yes.
them. Did that happen to you at all?
Yes, because of that deadline approaching, that was hard, and I was thinking too much and worrying too much and trying to be uh, too perfect, I just needed to just relax and just let the thoughts come to me. And it clicked when I thought of the broken glass, and all the pieces coming together. And that was how I was connecting community and the connection and everything together. And then I was like, okay, this is the pieces, how I'm going to bring it all together. Because I knew what I wanted. And then it's like, how do I bring it all together so that it's all cohesive?
Well, yeah, I think you did a great job of sounding really personable, and because that's what happens sometimes. You feel like you have to play a role. You're like, oh, I'm a TEDx speaker, so therefore I need to sound like this.
Yeah.
Or I'm doing a podcast, so therefore I need to sound like this. I need to ask a question like, "Hello, everyone, how's it going?" You know, like, but at the end of the day, it's like people want to tune in and hear you for who you are, you know, and authenticity and all that is what people crave and want.
Yes.
And I definitely picked up on. I got a sense of who you were from your speech, and I had a little bit of inside info though, because I follow you on social media.